The next 15 minutes brought to you with the kind compliments of the NCSA. As I said, not alone, I have company. Joining me today is Mrs. Betty Hunt, and she's the manager of the NCSA, and Miss Alison Gotep, I hope I pronounced that correctly, director of the Substance Abuse Foundation. So let's say good morning and welcome all.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, nice to have you all with me there this Friday morning. Now, I'm looking at the topic, and the topic is one really, I think, especially coming out of Mother's Day, when we speak about intervention for mothers dealing with children who are substance abusers. So who's going to get the ball rolling this morning in particular?
Okay, I'll get the ball rolling. Thank you for having us today. This is Betty at NCSA. We just thought that it would be great to look at this topic because, a lot of attention historically and traditionally is placed on the abuser. But a lot of the times, the toll on the family member is just as great and sometimes even greater. And so we thought that we would do a series looking at different aspects of substance abuse and those aspects that are sometimes hidden. So this is one of those aspects of substance abuse. And in this, we partner with the Substance Abuse Foundation. So Alison can probably add something here.
Okay, yes, thank you, Betty. Yes, it is really crucial to understand that the impact of addiction is not just on the person who is the addict, but that what we see it as is it becomes a family disease. Mm-hmm. And, of course, the parents, etc. So it's not just the individual because they all go through the journey with that addict, the sleepless nights, the concerning, who may be knocking at their door and, requesting money, seeing the child or the young person going through a very traumatic time and feeling helpless and hopeless and not supported. So I think it's really key, and I really do commend both the OB and the National Council on Substance Abuse by highlighting that, because that is the reality that we're dealing with here at the Substance Abuse Foundation.
Now, of course, again, we were talking about the intervention from mothers. So let's talk about some of the issues that are confronting the mothers and the women as it relates to substance abuse.
Okay, so it's really two parts. We have a female facility, which some persons may not be aware of. We don't only oversee Verdon House, but Marina House with the female persons who are battling with the disease of addiction. And we currently have a very high influx of women coming in seeking treatment, which is really the reality of what's happening in society. I think prior to COVID-19, we weren't seeing the high influx that we're now seeing due to there's many barriers that face women coming into treatment. One, the primary one is normally with regards to the children. So if I come into treatment, if I come in to stay, what's going to happen with my children? And unfortunately, some of those persons don't have the family support or the social support network to leave their children. And whilst we really do partner very well with the Child Care Board, as you can imagine, that can also be a stigma in itself. What we have done, our facility is now set up in a way that it can take mothers with children, and we currently do have some mothers with children at the facility at Marina House, so that has really reduced the barrier. And also what used to happen is that we found doing some of our research that a lot of women, because you would have to go through to a psychiatric hospital, a lot of women were foregoing that and saying, well, you know what, I won't go into treatment because, of course, psychiatric hospital also has its stigma. And with the COVID-19 and both ourselves and the psychiatric hospital changing some of the things that we do in terms of accessing treatment, it has meant that now a lot of the women can just go to a psychiatric hospital, get an assessment, have the referral and then come to Marina House, whereas before it used to be quite drawn out sometimes, they would have to stay in, etc. From a parent's point of view, We've also seen an increase in females calling for a lot of times for their children or their partners. And it is very difficult because I think it's for most women, they have this nurturing, wanting to help, etc. And they're at the end of themselves wanting to know, how can I get support for my son or my daughter? And unbeknownst to them, sometimes they actually enable that process. So what I mean by enabling is almost is to not to actually think they're helping their child, but they're not actually helping their child because they're just trying to, if I have to pay the drug dealer, if I have to, ring up the employer to make an excuse for them not coming, all of those things are enabling behaviors. And the mother does go through that whole process, as I said before, because she in herself is part of that addiction cycle, unbeknownst to her most of the time.
No, you mentioned, it can be from either end, from the parents or the children, and you're seeing an increase. But along with that increase, are they accepting of the assistance that's being offered when it becomes available to them?
Yeah. Well, as I'm sure you can appreciate, us women do tend to be very resilient, and it takes sometimes a lot out of us to sometimes ask for help. Mm-hmm. And what I can say is, before, where we were finding that a lot of the females were coming in and just spending up to 90 days, a lot of them, the majority of them, 98% in fact, are actually transitioning and going into the second stage, which basically means that they're actually in treatment for between 9 months to a year at Marina House. And they are accepting the treatment because then they understand that this is not just a matter of putting down the drugs or the drink, but I need to now heal holistically, right? I need to look at my spiritual standing. I need to look at my housing. I need to look at my employment. I need to look at my emotional development. So they are now more than ever accepting that they need help, accepting that they do need help, and accepting the services that we do provide at Marina House.
All right. You were saying something, Betty? I think I cut you off earlier.
No, I just wanted to add to what Alison just explained about this whole business of enabling, because so many times the line is so fine, and that sometimes we as mothers do not understand that in our attempt to assist our children through these, to help them walk this road, we are really enabling a behavior. And I can speak as a mother of a substance abuser as well. And that is why I think it is critical to get the message out there. It is not only in accessing the support, the things that Alison has mentioned, but sometimes you feel alone. Mm-hmm. And I think when you access support, you find out that you are not the only one in this position. And I think sometimes it's the loneliness and that feeling of being alone that drives people not to seek assistance. But, as I have started telling clients and people with whom I interact, there's nothing that stops an oncologist from being diagnosed with cancer. Mm-hmm. There's nothing that stops a dentist from coming down with a cavity. So we need to move away from taking it so personally. As Alison said, it is our nurturing nature, females nurture. Stop taking it so personally and seek help. I think society plays a role in that because there's a serious moral judgment on mm-hmm. persons, both the abuser and the family from which that abuser comes. So again, I want to give kudos to the Substance Abuse Foundation for establishing a unit for women, because that gender difference is real and it carries a whole set of different stigma altogether. We tend to say in Barbados that when the child is doing well, it's dad's child. But when it's doing not so well, the first call is, what's your mother's number? So it is good that I want to commend Substance Abuse Foundation for offering that type of support to women.
No, as the support is being offered, are you finding that you're getting cooperation from other entities, other supporting entities to really help to lend the assistance that is needed?
I believe we are, off of what Betty's saying, and I do appreciate that, Betty, that we not only have we just, well, it's 6 years in the making, Marina House, that was built out of a need. We're also currently building a family therapeutic center on the same compound because we understand that that is so key, having the family being part of the process, whether that means it's the children of the mother coming in, or if it's a mother who has the children who are already there at Marina House. We have built that therapeutic center in the process of building it. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it's finished in about 2 or 3 months. But that has been a brainchild and in collaboration with the Maria Holden Memorial Trust. So they have really seen our vision. They would have helped us to develop Marina House and also helped us now as an extension to build this family therapeutic center on the same compound. And I do agree with Betty in terms of the judgment and the moral judgment. And it is so heartbreaking to see mothers come in and not knowing what to do with their children. And this has been something they've been battling maybe 3 or 4 years. And you sometimes wonder, why didn't you come earlier? But I understand the judgment and the what did I do wrong? And I have 4 children, and we beat ourselves up when we see our children not going on the right path.
How do we rise above the judgment and the stigma? How do we go about, I mean, it's great that we're here now on radio and streaming and getting that information, but how do we go forward in spreading the word and trying to get society as a whole to rise beyond the stigma and the judgment?
I'm sure, Kashi, I'm sure Alison will be able to add, but my point of reference to a question like that is several years ago, a lady came to seek support from the NCSA. And while her child was getting the support and she was waiting, she asked me, she looked to be engaged in conversation, and she said, one of the questions is, do people who work here have problems as well? And that sort of has stayed with me over the years. And I said, yes, we do. Yes, we do. So I think one of the ways to rise above the stigma is to start speaking about it, bringing it into the mainstream. It is a health issue. And just like the other health issues are highlighted, to start bringing it into the mainstream so that persons whose children or whose family may be impacted by drug abuse have a safe space, I think. And this is where agencies like Substance Abuse Foundation, NCSA, other agencies come and create a safe space for persons to speak among themselves first, and then encourage like a public, not revelation, but just start speaking about it, like how you have created an avenue today for us to come and put these things on the table and let employers know if you have a mother and you somehow know the child or a husband or somebody is impacted by substance abuse, on a particular day or at a particular time, a woman might be responding differently. It is not that she doesn't want to work that day, but there are all kinds of issues that she may be going through. So I think one of the ways is doing exactly what we're doing today. And this is speaking about it and starting to highlight it.
And that time, I think we need a lot more time. I don't know who you need to speak to, but 15 minutes is definitely not enough because we only have a minute left of that 15 minutes. I don't know who is going to take the final minute and bring it home for us, but indeed,
Alison can take the final word.
Thanks, Betty. Yeah, we need to speak about it. And anyone who knows me and leading this organization and talking about substance abuse is key. I always say, what if it was my child? What if it was me? Looking at the person, if they're bleeding, looking at it as another health issue like diabetes, like cancer, what would you do? Will you just ignore or scorn that person? No, we would seek to help. The problem is that substance abuse is sometimes viewed as a moral failure. And it's not. When you understand addiction and the disease of addiction, you will understand these are broken people who need healing, who need a chance and need the support. The family need to be supported. So if anybody does need that support, anyone can call me. I always give out my cell number. It's 234-7586, 234-7586. So I'm not just speaking it, I'm actually doing it. Give me a call and we're actually here to support, understanding that we all need help in navigating this thing that we call life.
Okay, and Betty, if they need to contact the NCSA, how can they reach you?
You can reach us at 535-6272, and we will route you to a counselor once you call.
Okay, now Alison,
Thank you so much, Cash.
you didn't tell me if I pronounced it correctly. Is it Alison Gote?
Yes, it is. You've done it perfectly.
Lovely, lovely. Well, thank you, Alison Gotep, and she is the director of the Substance Abuse Foundation, and Mrs. Betty Hunt, the manager of the NCSA. You can tune in. The next show will be on Friday again. Well, sorry, we have a repeat on Monday, but the next show, that's Friday, when we're tackling the topic, we are ready to offer family support. Thank you very much, ladies. Do have a wonderful day.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
That last 15 minutes brought to you with the kind compliments of the NCSA